So it's recording. Okay. Can everyone see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, welcome to my business continuity planning webinar. So I'm going to go through a few different bits and pieces here on some stuff I haven't done already, some planning, looking at some mindset, what do you call them, models, and a few other bits as well that we've not included in our previous webinars, so you might find them helpful hopefully. And then I'll take you through the business continuity plan, and what would be a good thing for you to do, just to make sure you've got all your bases covered. So obviously I think you've all used Zoom before, but just so you know, any questions pop in the chat box. You can ask questions as we go, as there's only a couple of you on the call. That's me. I'm Cheryl, as you know, and that's my contact details for the recording for anyone who does want to get in contact afterwards. So obviously we're in unprecedented times at the moment and there's a lot of uncertainty. As you know, we're here for you. Anything we can do, we will, to help you through this. Sorry, I'm just reading my notes. I should have read these first, shouldn't I? Right, so before we started, I just wanted to kick off with this thought of the day from JFK. When written in Chinese, the word crisis is comprised of two characters, Wai Chi. One represents a danger and the other one represents opportunity. So I know we've talked a lot recently that there is a lot of danger out there at the moment, but there is also a huge amount of opportunity available to us as business owners. We just need to grab the opportunity and do everything we can with it. So this is what we're going to cover today. Mindset for times of crisis, building a plan for yourself, your team and your business. We're going to outline what we're able to do to help you, which I know a lot of you know already, but there's a few extra bits that we've got available now to help. Your next steps, and obviously any questions you may have. All right, so to put us all in the right frame of mind, I wanted to share with you one of the most powerful business models I've actually ever seen, and we've brought this into the business ourselves in the last couple of years. It was introduced to me by one of my suppliers in the community, and I think it's a really good model. In times of crisis, you've got two choices about how we can respond. We can act either above the line or below the line. And I think it's actually, you can take this into most areas of your business as well. So it's not just in times of crisis. So you've got below the line, you've got obviously blame, excuses and deny. You can blame somebody else for bringing the virus into our country. You can make excuses why there's nothing we can do about it. And you can go into denial that there's even an issue. So there's nothing you can do because it's not your fault. But then you can turn it around and you can act above the line, where you take ownership for what you can do and what you must do something to protect yourself and your business. You can recognise that you're accountable for your team, your clients, as well as yourself. And you can take responsibility for protecting ourselves, our team, our customers and our businesses. So it's a fundamental mindset really, and it's how you look at it. And if you choose to look at it above the line, then you're going to get the most out of the current situation and actually turn it around to help your business to grow. So I know obviously we've done a few of these today, and I know Darren, we were speaking this morning, you saying obviously about how you've looked at a different opportunity for your business, and that's will in turn then help your business to grow. So that's really good. So as well as acting above the line, we also can consider that we need to be in these times. So if you're not careful, we could end up acting something like this. When I have got through these pressing client matters, I'll be able to do something about it, to make a plan to get through it, and then I'll be a great leader, or you'll be a great business owner, you'll be anything. And I know I fall into this trap as well. I'm constantly saying, when I do this, when I've got through this, I'll be able to do this, and then I'll be however. But then if you turn it around, think about who you want to be or who you must be, and then to be that person, what you need to do, and then what you need to have to be able to what you need to do to be who you want to be. So it's just turning things around, which I know a lot of us are doing at the moment. So you've got to be before you can do, and do before you can have.
Cheryl, are you going to send this presentation out on email by any chance?
Yeah, I can do.
Yeah, just something to look back on.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that. That's not a problem. It's also recording and will be on the website, so you've got the whole webinar on record. Now this one, I'm an hour whether or not to keep it in the presentation, because obviously I know there's a huge backlash against old Mr. Richard Branson at the moment. But I've kept it in because I actually really like this principle. So obviously you've got your owner, which is you, and you've got to think about yourself. You've got your team, and that could be your staff, your subcontractors, anyone in your team that you work alongside with, and not just necessarily staff. And we also need to think about our customers, and we also need to look after the business. So it can be quite overwhelming. And this is, again, not just in the current time, this is also for all time, really. Everything that you're faced, any time you've got a challenge, it's so overwhelming thinking that you, especially if it's you on your own as a business owner, have got all these things to look after and there's no one to help you. So this is what I like from Richard, is he says clients do not come first, employees come first, and if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your clients.
Yep.
Which is something I quite live by as well, and I know a lot of other people do. So you can see the owner takes care of the team, team take care of the customers, and the customers will take care of the business. So it's a case of just pivoting around again, thinking that you don't need to be in control of everything. So moving on, obviously we know the Richard Branson model starts with the business owner first. So first thing to do is to help yourself and get some resilience for yourself right now. So you're probably being, sorry, let's take that back. Your well-being is quite critical, obviously, at the moment. You need to remember to put their oxygen mask on first, which is something that I don't do, and I need to. But it goes back to that old I was saying, if you don't put your own oxygen mask on first, then you're useless. You can't help anyone. So it's a case of making sure you stay healthy, you make sure you get as much sleep as you can, getting your exercise going, and support if you need it. There's nothing wrong in obviously calling, asking for help and support. I know I've been doing it, and that's what we're here for. We're here to support you. We may be your accountants, but we are also here to support you in any other way that we can, even if it is just to lend an ear. But there's one thing I would say: select your information sources carefully and try to minimise time spent on social media, because I've seen it myself. It's so easy to get caught up in what's on social media and getting yourself more and more wound up. You also need to focus on your family. Their health and well-being is extremely important, obviously. So make a plan for how they can be supported, especially if you have to go into isolation. And a very empowering thing you can do is a personal budget. So it doesn't need to be complex. It could be something as simple as totaling your expenditure from the last couple of months, to identify all your personal costs and taking it from there. So we've already shared a long time ago. Bloody kids, sorry. So yeah, as we've always said, we've got the simple cash flow forecast up on our website, which I hope you've all got the link for. If not, let me know and I can get that link to you. But on there we cover the personal planning and budgets as well, so you can actually look at your own personal finances as well as the business, because at the end of the day you are your business and you need to make sure you've got both, a budget for both.
I had to cancel my gym club membership.
Oh no.
I know.
That's a pain. There is I'm sure you already know this. Oh, you know Jerry East. He's doing amazing things on his website.
Yeah, I did it with him as well, yeah.
So there's plenty out there. So even if you are cutting things out of your normal personal budget for these little things, there's plenty of free alternatives you can find out there. It's just finding them.
Did you say you cancelled it?
Yeah.
They should be able to freeze it.
I cancelled it for now. My husband kept telling me to, because I can buy cheaper gin and I don't use half the stuff they send. So
oh, gin, I thought you said gym.
I thought you said gym as well.
I thought you said gin.
Gin, no, don't cancel gin. That's an essential.
That's another matter, that is.
Sorry. Take that back. That's an essential. Naughty husband.
The gym have already done it for me, but no, I had to cancel the gym, which I think comes into well-being personally.
I do as well, and I'm sure many other people out there will as well. So yes, we need to. I think
some people will be putting that in front of their mortgage.
Yeah, I am. We need some alcohol. We need to get through it. Oh, this makes it so really boring what I'm next about to go on to.
Well, gin.
Yes. Gin. Stock. I should have added that in, shouldn't I? Stock up on gin.
Yes.
Or wine or whatever your tipple is. Okay, so the next thing on my list was thinking about your personal asset planning and planning for your family. I think personal asset planning needs to include your gin supply. Oh dear, this is fun. But what that actually means is things like your personal insurances, like life and income protection, boring stuff like wills and memorandum of wishes. But unfortunately, at the moment, it's something we need to consider. And if you haven't got a will, and especially as a business owner, powers of attorney, who's going to look after your business if for some reason you do have to go into hospital, you are unable to run your business for a time being. These are sort of things that you do need to think about right now, not just for your business but for your personal affairs as well. So if you haven't already got something on the radar, then I'd recommend doing it. If you do need somebody to help you with insurances, powers of attorney or wills, then shout, because we've got clients that are able to help you with these things. So then moving on to team resilience. Obviously this could mean your actual staff, this could mean your subcontractors that you use, or even just your team, like your VA, if you've got a VA, anybody that works with you. So I know obviously you may not have staff, those of you on the call, for the recording as well as Emma, I know you've got a team. The first thing your team members obviously are going to be worried about, other than their health, is job security. And it's a difficult one, I know. The government has obviously stated there's going to be lots of jobs losses during this time, but you just need to make sure the lines of communication are open with your team, and just be open and honest with them and just say what's going on, how you're being affected, as much, and just share relevant parts of your plan with them, and how you feel you're going to be able to carry on with what's going on, any orders you've got outstanding, work that you've had to postpone. obviously Emma with your shop, when you'll be able to reopen the salon again, as far as you know, because obviously we don't know. It's a bit of a finger in the air situation.
Ireland are saying 20th of July for them, with lots of restrictions in place. Don't know. But if I don't get this loan, then I can't get the equipment needed to open that I've been guided by a health and safety rep. So then I won't be opening. So
it's catch-22, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. But I think as long as you just keep those lines of communication open with your team, they'll be understanding. And obviously if there are job losses, and for those of you who have got employees, just make sure you've got the correct legal and HR advice on the best way of handling any restructures and redundancies. Anyone within 2 years of employment, you don't need to pay any redundancy costs, but you do need to pay them for the term of their notice period in their contract. Anyone over 2 years, there are redundancy costs that need to be taken into account as well. And again, if that's something that anybody needs, we are able to assist with helping that. And it's likely that obviously people we're gonna have some kind of lockdown for quite a while, I'd imagine. How that's gonna go, we don't know yet. So I can't see everyone and all shops being open at the same time. No. So it's a case of obviously keeping on top of what's going to be happening, when you're going to be able to realistically go back to some kind of opening and do some work, and everyone's going to be different. So I'm sure hopefully on Sunday there'll be some information. They did say Thursday, didn't they? But now they're saying Sunday.
Sunday now.
Yeah, as to when we're going to have some kind of information. But at the end of the day, it's up to you as well when you feel comfortable going back to work, because it's all well and good the government saying, yep, you can all go back to work as of X date, but if you personally and your team don't feel comfortable, then it's not something you're going to do. And obviously we can also help with a COVID-19 work policy to keep your team safe if you need that. I've got a template one that you can have, that's not a problem. And then we come on to your clients. So obviously the support you give your customers right now will impact the support your customers give you in future. That's a bit of a no-brainer really. And the same can be said for your suppliers, but we'll come on to them shortly. Customers need to be reassured that you're still operating and that you're going to be taking the measures to mitigate their exposure, which is a bit of a no-brainer really. So your policy that you put out should cover the steps your business is taking to protect your customers. And I'd recommend actually putting, especially you, Emma, and Karen, having a document policy confirming what you're doing, how you're going to do it, and then circulating that with your clients and on social media and everything. It just reassures your clients that you're taking every possible step to protect everybody really. You need to review your terms of trade as well and update any terms to reflect changes in business practices. So if you've got any T's and C's, just review them to make sure that they're up to date. If you haven't got T's and C's, get T's and C's in place. And just when you do their next trade with clients, just highlight any key changes, making sure that they're aware. In particular, obviously review payment terms and delivery terms, because I'm not sure it applies to anybody on here, but if you've currently got something in place that you deliver next day for those that are actually selling physical goods and you can't at the moment, obviously that needs to be made very clear, and especially if you can book appointments usually within a day or two, but it's actually a lot longer waiting time, then again you just need to convey that it's going to be longer for the time being. And don't, obviously it's an obvious one, but don't let customers avoid paying you. It's a hard one, and we've obviously covered these in our weekly calls, but chasing for payment at the moment is still something that should be actively done. You just need to change the tone of the chasing and the kind of conversations that you're having with people. It's a case of being sympathetic and offering as many different payment options as you can, but also letting clients know that if they have got outstanding debt, that's not just going to go away. It will be there at some point. So just making sure they know they're going to have to do it, and especially now as well, if people are booking in deposits and everything like that, are really important to take to just get commitment out of clients as well. So it kind of goes back to the saying of obviously putting your own oxygen mask on. If you don't have cash coming in for your business, you're not going to get very far. Cash is obviously the oxygen your business needs to survive. But yeah, we'll talk about cash flow shortly as well. And moving on to your suppliers, it's the same as what I said for your clients, really. You need to think about those who you want to be working with at the other end. And if you support your suppliers, obviously your suppliers will support you in turn. And by supporting your suppliers, I don't mean obviously paying them when you've got no money, but prioritising those who you need to help you. Where you can, obviously negotiate payment terms. If you do pay up front for anything, ask for a payment settlement discount or an early settlement discount. I know what we've done with a few of our clients who are struggling is we've reduced some of our services temporarily so that they're only paying for the bare minimum services, and then the rest of it's just paused. So they will have to pay it, but at a later date, and we'll sort that down the line, and it'll be more of a payment plan arrangement. You can discuss your supplier's supply chain, so ask them what their measures are, because obviously if you don't pay them, they're going to have a knock-on effect to their suppliers, and so well, it's just a never-ending circle. So also you need to speak, if you are reliant on a supplier for supplying you, you need to make sure that their supplier is still I can't think of the word, solid. That's not the word, but I'll go with solid for now, to make sure that they're still able to get the stock that they need. Yeah, solid's good. But obviously if they're having trouble finding and supplying you, then that's going to have a knock-on effect with you as well, and then you giving what you need to your clients. So just again, lines of communication with your suppliers as well is really key. If you've got stock that's just sitting there, maybe discuss with your supplier returning any excess stock. I don't know if that's something that anyone's thought of doing.
Yeah, mine have said yeah.
There's yours have said, oh, that's really good, because obviously a lot of places do things on sale or return.
They wouldn't normally.
But yeah,
but it was part of the package. I got 6 of 1% retinol, but for my client, you've got to build up to retinol, so they're going to be sat there for a long time before my clients are going to be on it. So they will take those back and offset them against what I owe them.
That's a no-brainer. That's brilliant. That's really good. I know you'll probably find a lot more suppliers are willing to do that at the moment.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it probably will only be the big suppliers. It's not going to be small businesses like us. But you never know. Unless you ask, you don't know.
Yeah, I've got thousands of pounds worth of stock in a joinery shop that I can't use at the moment.
Typical, isn't it? Can you return any of that, or is that all completely?
No, it's all in packs, and they're broken packs now, so they won't take them back.
Oh, annoying.
Can you sell them?
Can use them. It's just like you sell them as.
It's a specialist thing. It's a fire rated board that we got in special for Stansted Airport, and no, they're not going to take them back.
They're not. No. Is there other people that might need those though, that would be grateful of buying a spare pack?
There's not people that are doing any work there at the moment, so all worker maintenance and stuff there has come to a halt.
I'm just thinking about like any other businesses that are working anywhere else, because I know a lot of our, obviously, like similar to yourself, a lot of our clients in the construction trade can't get stock, so is that something that is scarce?
Maybe, but
I'm just
it's a
thinking
really
of ideas.
specialist board. It's like one that you don't normally buy. You usually buy the moisture resistant or the ordinary MDF, but the fire rated MDF is probably double the price of an ordinary board. So, and I've got hundreds of sheets of it sitting in a workshop.
Typical. Let's hope work starts again soon.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. I'd say the last thing on suppliers is reviewing contracts you've got with suppliers. Is there any clauses that will let you cancel things? And like Emma said, return things. Unfortunately, not yourself, Darren. But if there's terms of your contracts that you can't meet those terms of the contract, then again speak to your suppliers, get legal advice if you need to. Citizens Advice Bureau will have tons of advice to be able to help you with there. I think the main thing we've seen is obviously rent. A lot of landlords are being very stubborn and not doing any rent reductions, which is ridiculous because they're going to lose their tenants. Surely it's better to have half and then keep your tenant than to lose them completely, but a lot of people don't look past the current situation, do they? There is good news. Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember now. Where vehicles on leases are now, you can have payment holidays. So if you've got any vehicles where a payment holiday would be helpful, I believe it's both business and personal contracts that you can put on a payment holiday. So that may be an option to look at as well. And also just don't assume that contracts can't be renegotiated. As I said, with the rent, most suppliers would rather keep you to some degree and you be there afterwards than lose you completely. And it's the same for a lot of financial institutions as well, with loan repayments and things. So just speak to your suppliers and see what they can do.
Cheryl, I signed up, as you know, with the employment solicitor, because obviously with the IR35 and the girls being self-employed. I know that's something you're doing. So at the moment, obviously I said I'm not doing it. I can't afford to do it. I'm in a contract I have signed a contract with her, but obviously now this opportunity, because at the time I didn't realise it was something you were doing. If I contact her and just say, look, I don't know my future, can we perhaps terminate the contract and then come on board with you when the need arises? Do you reckon she would?
You can only ask. She can only say no. But the fact is, if down the line you don't, for any reason, take on those staff, because all this is shown with the IR35 is that there is some huge flaws in the IR35 guidelines, huge flaws, because everyone's falling foul of it right now and they're getting nothing. So
has it been put on hold?
It's been put on hold for a year,
till next year.
But so I do think they're going to look at it.
You, then, because does it affect you, Emma? Because have you read the guidelines for it?
Not completely, no. But everyone is self-employed, obviously, apart from myself. The way I run my salon is that it's my way. My protocols, my methods, my products, my booking system. So the only way to get out of it is that it's basically rent a room or give me a percent. I can't operate like that because of the issues with patch testing as well. So the girls would have to have their own products, and if they use a different product, then it's more patch testing, and it's just not how I want to run my business.
So do they invoice into you?
They invoice me on a weekly basis, and then we have a set percentage that I pay them, which is obviously including the use of my products and everything else. So yeah, it's quite a tricky one, but the only way forward really for me is to employ them, except for things like my aesthetics guy. That's very different. It's more the beauty and the massage side that I have I need to employ. The rental rooms or the percentages, the ones that provide their own products, is very easy.
Do they work anywhere else?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I'll read up on it again, just in
Yeah.
case it is different on the beauty side. But I know when I read up on it, we was clear for a while, and I think we spoke about it as well.
Yeah, we did,
didn't we? And I know it doesn't really affect my guys.
Yeah, it's so different for everybody, but I know with Emma it's the control side of it, and that is one of the key tests. So for Emma, she unfortunately does need to go down the employment rent.
Yeah.
But again,
they would have to take the client's payments as well and have the client's data. So then effectively for that treatment, the client becomes theirs. And then if for me, it's far too messy, and I've been stung very badly in the past. So it is a lot of control as well. Like Cheryl said.
Yeah, you lose that control, won't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm not prepared to either. So, and it will give me a more streamlined and continuity as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I
think you're doing the right thing. No, I think you're doing the right thing, Emma. It's just I think things will change with IR35. I think they need to re-look at it. To be fair, this has highlighted that what they're proposing is just ridiculous. So I think before it comes in, there'll be another review of it, and I reckon it'll either be postponed for a lot longer or they'll look into it properly.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the original question, there's no harm in asking. Just ask, and then if you do need us to help you with it down the line, we can help you with it down the line. It's not an issue. We can sort that out. But yeah, I'd ask. The only thing they can say is no, and you've not gained it or you've not lost anything then, have you? But if they say yes, then you've gained. Right, so I'm not sure this 100% applies to the three of you on the call, but for the purpose of the recording, I'm going to go through it because I think actually it's something that you could all consider a little bit. So one of the ways to improve your business is to shorten your cash conversion cycle. So it's making sure you get your cash quicker. So it does kind of apply a little bit with stock that you do hold. So we're going to take a look at an example of a wholesaler here. So they buy stock from suppliers. On average, they need to pay suppliers within 45 days of purchasing the stock. And as those of you who have stock know, and we've talked about this, stock doesn't always sell as quickly as you expect. And sometimes it could sit in a warehouse or on your shelves for quite a while. So some of it will sell quickly, some take longer, and especially at the moment, it could sit on your shelves for quite a while, and you may then need to get it discounted to be able to sell it at all. So the average stock holding for most supply businesses is around about 60 days. And when the stock's held, its credit terms are also potentially provided to customers. And quite often customers don't observe those credit terms. So on average, it will take another 60 days for customers to pay. So that's giving you a complete cash cycle of 120 days. A complete, not cash cycle, a complete cycle of your stock of 120 days. And then if we look at actually calculating your cash conversion cycle, it's 60 days average stock holding plus 60 days to get paid, less the 45 days credit from your supplier equals 75 days to convert it into cash. So obviously we need to make sure especially at the moment, but going forward as well, you need to have a plan to shorten this cash conversion cycle. And this is something that we'd do as part of your business continuity plan. So first of all, you'd need to understand what your actual standard normal stock holding cycle would be. And then we can look at how we can reduce that. both in normal times and current times. So obviously, the sooner you get your money in, the better. And another area to focus needs to be your business 101 cycle. There's a massive difference, obviously, between profit and cash. Profit's what you pay tax on, but cash, as we said earlier, is the oxygen the business needs to survive. So what's important here is that as well as improving your cash conversion cycle, is that you maximise your profit at the same time finance your business correctly. So I'm just going to walk you through this business 101 cycle. So starting at the top as an owner, you introduce your cash into a business to buy assets. You may also borrow to purchase assets, especially as we said, obviously at the moment, where a lot of us are putting money into the business through our own funding or through finance funding to pay for the bills, full stop really. And then these assets are used to generate a profit. And how you increase the profit is to improve your revenue or sales, which obviously is very difficult at the moment, but it is still possible. You need to, or the other options are to increase your margin or efficiency or trim your overheads. So now's obviously a very good time to look at potential new revenue lines, which I know you have been doing, potential new customers, which could come from the new revenue lines, pivoting in your sales strategy, and also what you can do to avoid losing existing customers, because you don't want to forget your existing customers. And although they may not actually be allowed to buy what they would normally buy at the moment, what else can you do to keep them happy and make sure they're coming back to you as soon as they possibly can? And I know I've already spoke about this many times, but looking at ways you can improve your margins through efficiency gains, obviously better purchasing, finding new suppliers. Now you've got time on your hands, now would be a good time to find new suppliers that can give you cheaper products, but obviously without reducing quality. Looking at your processes to find ways to do things better, reduce errors, reduce wastage, and simply looking at your services, your product lines, what you offer, and really see what is actually making you money, what's losing you money, where could you have a higher margin. So it's taking the time to look at different things and how you could do them better. And obviously once you've derived at your profit, you need to turn that into cash. Even hugely profitable businesses can go broke at the moment. So it's a case of looking at how you can maximise cash flow and use strategies to get paid quicker. Now is not the time to be slow or lenient on debt collection, which I mentioned earlier. Obviously we need to keep money spinning around in the economy, needs to keep people spending one way or another. And likewise, you need to be careful about reordering stock, keeping it to a minimum, but also taking into account that even if you are buying in less at the moment, is that going to push the price up? Because you don't want to buy in less if it's going to end up costing you more. So you need to offset the two when you're looking at ways in which to reduce your money going out. And as I mentioned before, other ways to help cash flow are through better terms with all your finances. So as I mentioned before, obviously speaking to your suppliers, but also looking at the different holidays you can get with financing and the loans, which I'm going to come to shortly, how you can help with those. I think that was about it for the cash flow cycle, unless anyone has any questions.
No, I'm happy with that.
I'm good with that.
No. Right, so I've talked about cash conversion and the business model. So there's 7 ways you can grow your business that many of you have seen before. Only this time, I want to use a model to find other ways to focus on where you can reduce the negative impact. So client retention. What can you do to delight your clients right now? So many of them will be struggling to stay in contact and see how you can hold on to. So many of them will be struggling to stay in contact. So how can you hold on to your business wherever possible? So obviously I've mentioned before, different ways you can pivot your businesses, different platforms. You've gone onto TikTok, haven't you, Emma?
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that going?
Oh,
You're excited.
I'm wasting hours. I just keep watching the videos and think, oh, that'd be really good. That'd be really good. He's really sick.
It's really
I think my kids are embarrassed I'm on TikTok.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
your mum as well, are you, Darren? Oh, wow.
Yeah, just personally, not as a business.
Yeah. But it is looking at these different ways and seeing how you can keep your clients engaged, basically, even if they can't spend with you at the moment, as long as you're keeping them engaged with you one way or another. And I know you posted a load of pictures, Darren, the other day, and it just gets people thinking. I mean,
you'd be surprised. I've had about 10,000 hits on that.
Yeah, no, I'm not surprised. I really am not. I just literally, what did we do? Oh, and before I say this, I have to put a disclaimer. Our neighbours are isolating and we're isolating. They're the only people we've seen. But we popped in there last week to help with something with the kids. And of course, their house is identical to ours, apart from it's a mirror image. And obviously our taste and their taste. And I'm walking around going, oh, that's a good idea. Oh, that's a good idea. And the amount of things that I saw in their house that we could then do in our house. And I think that's what it is. People are seeing so many different things because they've got more time to look on social media. They've got more time to go on Pinterest, all these other places that you wouldn't normally be looking at. And they're seeing things. And it's a case of getting them engaged. We've got a to-do list now for our house as long as my arm. And as soon as we've got the money, we'll start doing some of those things. So it's a case of just obviously making sure you're at the forefront of your client's mind. So even if you're not retaining your clients by getting money from them at the moment, you just need to keep them retained with what they want to spend with you in the future.
Engagement's gone down massively on Facebook, I've noticed.
Yeah, I think that's Facebook's algorithms.
Yeah.
As well.
Instagram's gone up. Yeah, Facebook's gone down, so
yeah, so it's a case of looking at these things and looking where you're getting the best engagement and then focusing on them. Obviously lead generation, looking for new avenues to attract potential new customers. And I know, Darren, you've done this.
I'll do that weekly.
You've done that weekly, and I know, Emma, you've been doing it as well. Have you been able to do any of that at all, Karen?
No, not really, because we didn't actually launch properly, did we?
Ah, yeah, cool. So you're getting it's just general leads. So you're
absolutely.
What do you do, Karen?
Aesthetics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but in many different ways. But so I'm up in Harley Street, but we're just launching a small clinic in Chelmsford.
Oh, okay.
So basically, so I can come out of Harley Street. So we're all set up, ready to go, but we've not launched.
Oh, right.
But now's the time to make sure you've got everything ready to launch.
Absolutely.
And having everything there, and then is it wrong to say you can even launch? I know you won't be actually getting business, but could you get some?
We spoke about it. And we spoke about it to our social media guy and everything. And he just said, just hold tight for the moment. So what Jessica's doing, she's basically doing some online how to do things and so on while she's at home, and just to keep our current patients engaged who are going to be following us, basically. But that's it, really. Yeah.
I'd get launching.
Yeah,
people I cannot wait. Obviously my guy does my Botox and my filler, and that's probably one of the first things that I will have done myself. People are going to be looking for other businesses aren't going to survive this. So if
you're right,
if you've got someone that is looking for somewhere, I'd launch now, because everyone is on social media, and if you can lock in those special offers, personally I would.
Yeah,
Like however many, like I was doing my Botox just before we went into lockdown. Yeah, I know. So for me, that's something that I would have straight away. Aesthetics. People who want to going to make themselves feel better. We're all going to come out of this fatter alcoholics. So yeah, I think it's a prime time for you.
Yes and no, because the doctor's not established in Essex, we've got to get the doctor established. So because it is a doctor treating as well, we don't really want to, how can I say, come out there as if we're doing cheap treatments. You cannot advertise Botox either.
No.
So there's a big clause there for us. So it is a case of, soon as we know, and we're hoping it was this week, but did you say it's now Sunday? They're going to let us know the next steps.
Sunday,
that will be the timeline of how we work out when we really go for it. But if we were to do something now and there's not an awful lot there to go for, it's a bit of a troublesome area. So we have just literally just launched as if we're saying we will be opening soon, coming to Chelmsford, and that kind of way.
Yeah,
just
I
gentle
think that's
launch.
perfect.
Yeah.
Is it just Botox and filler, or what other aesthetics?
We do everything. So we're skin specialists ourselves. So basically we work with anything on the body. And then obviously we're going to be working with Botox and fillers, body contouring and everything. Yeah. So what is it? Is it just beauty yourself? And
I do mainly skin. IPL hair removal, IPL skin rejuvenation, but yeah, everything else beauty. I've got an aesthetics guy, I've got a semi-permanent makeup artist. She's just about to start chemo. So she's a bit out of the loop at the moment for a while, which is kind of the right time.
Yeah.
For her, she's had a mastectomy. And it's obviously on her right side, so she can't work for a while anyway, so it's perfect for her, but hopefully she'll come back fighting fit.
Yeah.
It's, if I can get the money together, then it's something I want to train in anyway, is semi-permanent makeup, and just kind of put myself as skin, intimate waxing, IPL and semi-permanent, and leave the rest for the other girls.
The rest behind. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I understand that.
yes. Yeah, I've put in the chat, just send me your Facebook pages and I'll have a like as well.
Good, no, that's really good. So sorry, going back to this, increase prospect conversion. Obviously, it goes without saying, obviously make it as easy as possible for people to buy from you, but do not give your value and products away. You can think of ways of converting prospects without giving too much away at the moment. I know it's easier said than done. We've done it ourselves when we shouldn't have, because obviously all of our time and our products have a value, and you need to make sure you are getting that value, getting something for that value. Transaction value, can you encourage your clients to buy more from you? So offers, 3 for 2s and things like that, to buy more. So I know I just said don't give away free stuff, but it's increasing the transaction value. So how can you obviously encourage them to buy more from you? Are there other supporting products or services they're not aware of? Things like that, really. Transaction frequency. What can you do to encourage clients to come back to you more regularly? For example, lock in the next purchase or order at the end of your current one, or at least asking for referrals from new customers, which is something I know, Emma, we've been talking about on another group. Getting referrals, and I think that is a really important one to do at the moment. Reducing your cost of sales, it's something we all look at all the time. What can you do to preserve current margins? How can you reduce errors, rework, faulty goods, things like that? Getting better prices from suppliers. And as I said before, maybe sourcing new suppliers at the moment who are able to give you your products cheaper without affecting quality, obviously. And then reducing overheads. What costs can you remove from your business together right now? So I'm sure many of us have found, obviously, there's no travel costs really at the moment, entertainment, vehicle costs, things like that you're not got at the moment. I'm assuming empty salon, you've stopped all the gas, the electric, the water, and everything that you can.
Yeah.
It's just things like that.
BT won't do anything. BT won't help at all. They want full payment.
Yeah, they never will they?
Ridiculous.
They've stopped bloody sports. All right, sports isn't going on. We know that, but neither are our businesses.
I'm sure there was something on the business website I saw that where they are reducing it, but that's just proved your point. Change suppliers. There you go. You'll find someone who'll do it cheaper and will give you a holiday.
Yeah.
So get rid of BT. Sorry, BT, but get rid of BT. That's one way of doing it.
Yeah.
It's just finding if your current supplier won't therefore give you a reduction or help you, replace that supplier. It's no brainer really, isn't it? Obviously one of the biggest overheads in business for bigger companies, obviously where they've got a lot of things on credit, is interest costs. You can see on the screen here, there's a lot of things at the moment.
Not up on the screen.
No, it's gone off the screen.
You're joking.
No, just seeing you at the moment.
You can. Oh God. No, that's not. How did I stop that? Sorry. I'm glad you said. There. Can you see my screen now?
That's back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, so yeah, there's a lot of things at the moment you can do to help with financing and bank assistance to reduce those costs. And I know the FCA have now stepped in and helped with a lot of these options to for payment holidays and more than just your mortgages. So if you have got any of these, then it's worth speaking to your bank and seeing what they can do.
Where people have got the payment holidays, and say for instance at the moment I think they're up to 3 months, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
What happens after the 3 months for people? Is it a case of they review it, or?
At the moment we don't know. I would say as it gets towards the end of the 3 months, speak to your lender and just see what they say. If the government are going to extend the terms, then they will do.
Yeah.
They'll announce it at some point. But just speak to your lender and see what your options are. But do it before you get to the end of the term, because sooner but not too soon. It's a bit of a catch-22 really. You don't want to do it too soon because they'll tell you to go away, but at the same point you don't want to leave it to the last minute and then stress. So I'd speak to them at least a couple of weeks prior to the end of the holiday period. And this is all part of as well your business continuity plan. So in the plan we've got a section for all of this. Which then brings us on to insurances. So I spoke about personal insurances before, but you need to look at businesses insurances as well. So a lot, majority will probably not have any exclusions for the current pandemic, but it's still worth reviewing your insurances. It's worth double checking any HR matters like the redundancy if you foresee these sort of things happening in the future. The more you know about it now, and you can find out about it now while you've got time on your hands, the better. Going for all your insurances, making sure they are up to date, and little things to think of as well, like at the moment the salon, you've got insurance for contents insurance.
Yeah.
Contents and that, and theft. How is that affected if you cancel the policy? Obviously you won't be covered. Can you get it covered on your house insurance? It's all things like this to think of. And obviously if the business is shut up, is it still covered because no one's there? So it's things
They
like this.
won't
And I
do
know
anything.
they won't do it, typical. But are you still covered? Is everything in the salon still covered?
They are, yes, it is. Everything is at home pretty much, as much as I can get in my spare room. So,
But then is it covered on your house insurance though? Or does your business insurance then cover it for being at home? Because this is something you need to think of, because I sold my insurance out, for example. We've lost the office, so I rang up my insurance company, said, right, we're all now working from home, and he said to me that my house, because I've got employees, my house will now be the primary location, work location, but that automatically then means the girls' laptops aren't covered. So I've had to add the girls' laptops to my own policy separately to keep them covered. So you just need to make sure where the stock is it covered, and under which insurance policy.
If I leave, I'm with InSync now, my insurance company. If I leave them now and someone puts a claim in, I'm uninsured.
Yeah.
So they've got me between a rock and a hard place, because I can't now go anywhere, so I've got to stay with them because.
Yeah. But at least you looked into that, because if you hadn't looked into that and you've gone elsewhere down the line, you'd have been screwed. So that is something that everybody needs to look at to make sure before they do something, make sure they're still going to be covered, because there's no point in doing something to save costs and then you find out down the line you're not insured. So that's really good you've checked that. And of course, make sure, it goes without saying, make sure you're up to date. I know I had a mini panic last year when I noticed I hadn't paid my payment for 2 months, and I'm thinking, what on earth has happened? And it was actually a 12-month policy paid over 10 months. But where I'd done it a year earlier, pretty much, I'd completely forgotten that point. So it's just a case of making sure you are you've not run out, you've not missed that. What happened the year before was our the broker that we went through had actually been closed down, and nobody had bothered to tell us, which meant that when the renewal came, we never got the reminder. So again, it's just making sure that everything is still in place and you're not missing out. Thankfully, we was only a month without cover, and it was only the office, and thankfully nothing went wrong in that month. But had that been my indemnity insurance, we could have been in a lot more issues. So yeah, it's just making sure everything is definitely completely and utterly T's crossed, I's dotted, and make sure you're all correct. And again, if you need any help with any of the insurances, we've got clients who are able to help, so I can definitely recommend people to help. Right, so this is obviously something I've spoken about an awful lot. You're probably sick to the death of me talking about all the government support, but just a couple to point out. All the details obviously are on our website. For those of you who don't have it, it's www.pinkpigfinancials.co.uk/support is our hub for all the support stuff, with everything filtering off of there. The job retention scheme, hats off to the government, they've done an amazing job there. We had all of ours have now been submitted, paid out. Everyone got paid last week. Really, really happy, no issues, other than them changing the guidance. But that's a whole other story, which I won't bore you with. Self-employed income support scheme. Obviously, as we don't look after self-employed at the moment, we don't know a huge amount about it. But I do know that if you look on the guidance now, where there is a link from our website, you can now there is a eligibility. A bit right. Eligibility checker, so you can actually log on there with your UTR and national insurance number, I believe it is, you need, and check to make sure you are or aren't eligible. I still don't believe it tells you how much you're eligible for on there, but it will give you a yes or a no, so at least you know if you have got money coming. The business support grant funding, I know our local councils have been paying that out, and the rates relief. Yeah, rates relief. They're all being paid out. That's going really well. HMR relief in the form of tax deferrals. Again, the team are being amazing, and they're literally just giving everyone 3-month deferrals for everything, but you do have to ask, other than for VAT and self-assessment, The CBILS, Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, is still dragging their heels. Everyone hates them, but people are getting them, so that is there. And obviously with the new bounce back loan scheme that's gone live today, and so far so good. Looks to be very simple and easy.
I've already had my documents to sign.
You have, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
I know with some banks they're even giving a yes or a no there and then, so they seem to be going really quickly, really smoothly, as you know, Emma.
Yeah, it was so easy.
Who are you with, Emma?
Santander.
Right.
Yeah, so there's, I believe there's 5 or 6 that you can do it online at the moment with their online banking. Lloyds, Barclays, NatWest, Santander, and Royal Bank of Scotland, I think it is off the top of my head, all taking applications through internet banking, and all seem to be very quick and simple to do. I think from what I've heard, the only thing you need to enter is A, the amount you want, and B, your turnover. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And the rest of it's just ticking boxes, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. I have got an email here. Yeah, I put in my turnover and what I wanted, and it wouldn't let me do it because obviously it wasn't 25%. So I had to adjust it accordingly. I've had the DocuSign back already. So hopefully I'll have an answer by tomorrow.
Which is
that's good.
fantastic.
Yeah,
it's really good, isn't it?
Yeah, the CBILS. I haven't heard anything.
No.
And I've also, at the time when I did the application, which was probably 5 weeks ago,
Yeah.
Asked for a overdraft as well, and I've still not heard a single thing about that either.
No,
So,
that doesn't surprise me. That's what we're hearing across the board. The CBILS are absolutely being awful, which is why seeing these bounce back loans actually doing something this morning is so refreshing and good. Yeah. What they're saying now is the CBILS will be the minimum will be increased to £50,001, so you can either have a bounce back loan or a CBILS. Anyone who's already got a CBILS loan under the 50k, you can ask your bank to transfer it to a bounce back loan scheme. The bounce back there, I believe they are all set at 2.5% interest.
2.5,
yeah, after the first year. So there's no repayments for the first year, no interest for the first year. There should be no fees. So I'm hoping they haven't disguised any fees in there. But again, it'll all be in the small print, I'm sure. And it seems a really good loan. Obviously, you don't want to be getting money for money's sake. However, it's such a really good interest rate there. If this was something you were thinking of, if there are improvements that you need to make, if there are assets you need to buy, tools, machinery, for example, we're looking at a few different things internally of what I wanted to do, but I was going to save the money up for it and then do it. Now's the time to make the most of having such low interest rates. And if you do find that you've earned the money back, because obviously your assets are then going to be working for you, and if you find that you've earned the money back before the end of the year, you can pay it off, no early redemption fee, and you don't have a loan in your name. So as much as I don't want people getting it for getting its sake, there is other things you can think of where you could use that money to really help your business to grow at the moment. And it's just all those sort of things that you've been thinking about at the back of your mind. Oh, I haven't wanted to take, for example, a marketing person on because you can't afford them or you don't see the return. However, if you engage the services now, work on a load of stuff, get it all out there, you'll find that you should get a very good rate of return for that money and be able to pay it off before you actually start needing to make any repayments. So I'm looking at it as it's an investment, as well as those obviously who do need it for working capital. Obviously, if you need it for working capital, it's a no-brainer. They're a brilliant idea, but also look at it as an investment opportunity as well to improve your business, to make you in a much stronger position for when this is all over.
Just going back to what we were speaking about earlier, Cheryl, is if you don't bank with any of those banks, and you want
if you don't bank with any of those banks, there is meant to be a platform that's launching at the end of today, and I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Swoop, Whoosh, something like that. I can't remember, but there's is meant to be somebody launching at the end of today. But I'd keep an eye on the British Bank's website for the bounce back loan scheme, and they will list all the accredited lenders on their website. So
Sure.
as more and more become available, they'll be announced on their website. I'd imagine the government will be announcing. I don't know. I haven't seen anything from the government today. But then, to be fair, I haven't really been on social media today to look. So
I was just thinking about people that are in the same situation as me on your
Yeah.
blog when they think about it. So
yeah, no, there is going to be more people available and offering these schemes. It just may take a little bit longer. There's still, like for example, Starling Bank are still in the process of getting their accreditation to do all of these, but they will be offering them. Funding Circle, I know I've got approval for C-bills. I'm not quite sure about bounce back loans. I don't know if they lend that small amount, but there are platforms that are going to become available for those whose main bank don't offer them right now.
Has many people been fortunate to get the support grant funding?
Yeah, the support grant is for those with rates, who pay rates. I believe everyone who pays rates pretty much is entitled to the grants. Business rate, yeah, there has to be business rates that you pay, not council tax rates. But I have seen something, but I haven't been able to look into it fully yet, that there may be some more grant funding available for those who have premises. And therefore,
yes,
and those for, but you have to be paying rent of some description.
Well, I can sort that out.
I've seen some talk about that, so I need to look into that a bit further and see if that is just rumours or is actual fact.
Yeah,
I've heard that as well for like beauty cabins and stuff.
Yeah, so I'm going to be looking into that, and again, as soon as I know more, it'll all be on our website.
Okay, thank you.
And on our social media pages as well, obviously. So that's pretty much it on the government support. Obviously, as they announce more, we'll know more about how long these things are extended for, if they're going to be extended, and hopefully we'll find out more as time goes on. So next steps, obviously doing nothing is not an option, and I know you've not been doing nothing. You've all been working hard at the moment to pivot the business, do what you can to keep going. So it's a case of just carrying on and don't give up, because you're doing a fab job. Obviously putting your own oxygen mask on first. Just make sure you keep doing that. Don't get complacent.
And yours.
Think you're fine. Yep, and mine. I know. I've stopped working weekends now. No more weekend working. So anyone who wants to try and contact me at the weekend, I'm sorry. I am recharging with my oxygen mask and the TV. I've completely lost my train of thought.
make a plan.
Make a plan. Make a plan. So what we've done to make a plan, make a plan. Surround yourself with experts, be that myself or anyone else I can put you in contact with. Focus on what you can do. Forget about what you can't do. Forget about things you can't control. Just focus on what is possible, what you can do, and that will just really help. And don't live in the past either, what you haven't achieved. Just think about what you are going to achieve. And with that in mind, I've now got to work out how to did it. So this is the continuity plan that I've this isn't my one, this is our template. So this is what basically, it's pretty much all the sort of things we've gone through, but it's putting it down in writing and actually assigning a responsibility, which if you're obviously a single business owner, the responsibility will be yourself, but it's setting deadlines of what you're going to do and when. So you should have all had a copy of this when I sent the email out. It's available on our website to download as well. If you need the link, I can share that with you. but it's a case of going through here, and we're looking at 7 key 7 key areas, which I didn't write down, which was really helpful to talk to. But I'm going to go through, we've put together a guide as well. So the 7 key areas, which I was hoping I'd put in there. I haven't. Okay, that's really not helpful. I didn't do a very good job there, did I? Well, we're looking at 7 key areas, which are your resilience, supporting your team, supporting and retaining customers, working with your suppliers, and then your business and bank assistance, etc. So it's a case of this, everything that I've kind of gone through throughout the webinar is in this plan, and it's a case of going through and just writing down, because it's all well and good thinking of all these things in your head, but as most of us know, until you write things down, it's not something you actually focus on, and you actually then set yourself a deadline for doing these things, that you actually achieve them. And also it's a case of when you've got a plan, you can stick to it and know what you are and are going to be doing. So some of this won't apply to all of you, so just obviously ignore the bits that don't apply, but this is pretty much everything that we've gone through the webinar. And the guide will take you through all the different areas and give you some advice on how to do it, things to think about. It's a nice long document you can take through, but there's a lot of helpful links in there as well, and ideas of the ways you can do it. So obviously we're giving out these templates for free for you to put your own plan together. And I've completely lost my train of thought, sorry. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, so we've put these together so you can put your own plan together, but we can also, if you need somebody to help you, because I know what I'm like, sometimes I need somebody to sit with me and help me and go through it. So we've come up with some options of ways we can help you with these. So our first option is the full planning session. So we're thinking of 4 hours over Zoom, which can be in a full 4-hour session, which could be a bit heavy going. So we can also split that into 2 hours or 4 1-hour sessions, however you want to do it. And we can go through the full plan, and we can actually work it all out together. We've reduced what we'd normally put together as a 4-hour planning session, business planning session. We've reduced it to 50% of our costs for this, because obviously we appreciate it's a lot of money to spend at the moment, and I don't expect everyone to be able to do it or want to do it. But I also want to help, so we can do that. We can also do a review meetings, which would be a case of obviously taking the templates and the guidance we're giving you and putting something together, and then we can have a 90-minute review session, again, which can be into 45-minute calls or however you want to do it, really, where we can go through and review it, and we can help you to finish it off. And then we can, with both of those sessions, we can help you with a little bit of accountability to make sure you're doing what you should be doing and when you should be doing it. And then, of course, free. We're giving it to you. I don't expect anything from this at all. It's just giving you the option that if you do want somebody to help you and give you a kick up the bum to do it, we're here to help you. But you are obviously more than welcome, and I really do stress you should have the plan done. Even if you've already done part of the things we've been talking about, still go through the plan, still go through the guide, and just make sure you are doing everything that you can be doing. The most important thing at the moment is you know what you're doing, you know you've done everything you possibly can do. But obviously if you do need the help, we are here to help you. Yes, that's obviously, we're also helping with cash flow. We've got the free cash flow template on our website, and I can send you the link again if you need it. That is there. We are also able to help with some proper cash flow forecasting as well, but obviously anything other than that free template doing yourself, we will need to charge a little bit of money for, because obviously it's our time as well, but we can quote as needed. So that was all I was going to go through really today. So does anyone else have any other questions? No?
I'm really happy. I'm pleased that I'm doing quite a lot of that.
You are doing quite a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are, and I'm kicking myself. I didn't do this earlier because I think it would have helped a lot of people earlier, but I was so focused on doing what we was doing that I didn't have a chance to look at anything like this until now.
You've done enough, haven't you? You've been doing really well.
Yeah.
Give yourself a pat on the back.
Oh, thank you. Oh, dear. Right, so I'm going to leave you with this parting thought. Anyone can lead when the plan is working. The best lead when the plan falls apart.
Yeah, very much so.
So make sure you've got a plan, a new plan to help you get through, and all will be good.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to finish the recording if I can work out how. My computer doesn't want to do it. Oh, I can't. Stop sharing.
Yeah, well done. Oh, you're still recording?
I'm still recording. I'm getting there.